You've tuned into the Bellingham podcast for the week of November 24th, 2019. This is episode 139.
Happy Thanksgiving.
From that thankful city by the Salish Sea, I am AJ Barsay.
And hopped up on tryptophan, I am Chris Powell. On this episode, it's that most wonderful time of the year where you're starting to hear those songs of the holiday, but actually the most wonderful time of the year is not what's coming up. That being Black Friday. AJ and I have a couple ideas on how you can spend the day after the big holiday elsewhere from the retail sector. Plus, when that time comes when you do go shopping for your loved ones, we got a couple ideas for you in mind. Don't cost a lot, but it's worth a lot. Stay tuned. This is the Bellingham Podcast.
Oh, it's the most wonderful podcast of the year. How you doing, Chris?
I am full of joy and full of spirit and full of caffeine. And yourself, AJ?
Full of joy, anger. What were the other emotions in Inside Out? Let's see, disgust. No,
yeah, exactly. I miss that movie. They should do it too.
Dude,
for that one.
Oh man, yeah. Inside Out is a regular in my house. So.
All right.
So apologies at the top of the show. By the time you're listening to this, last week's episode has already been delayed a week. So life happened and editing takes a while. So by the time that you get this, you'll probably see a double episode of the Bellingham podcast. It's not like we're doing two in a week. It's just I had life happen.
When you get a couple days off, if you're lucky to have that around the holiday time, you get to enjoy double podcast in trouble.
I like that. That is no truer thing.
All right.
Said.
So Thanksgiving coming up, national holiday for many.
Here in the United States.
Yes, exactly. AJ, pop quiz. Is there a Thanksgiving that was memorable for you back in the day?
Absolutely not. Not.
Really?
No. I don't know. This is weird. Thanksgiving, I don't know. I give thanks every day, honestly. Like the spirit of Thanksgiving is kind of more important to me than the actual, let's go eat some turkey and cranberry sauce. Actually, scratch that. I really like cranberry sauce. But no, I don't really have a memorable Thanksgiving. I mean, I had great Thanksgivings. I love the fact that I was off. My mom and dad were off and, I was together with family. But I'd rather have that during the warmer months personally, and that way I could go do stuff. But how about you, Chris?
I've always enjoyed having the Thanksgiving off. It's always nice to have a time with family and a meal. Unfortunately, we've taken it to such gargantuan parameters of quantity. It's kind of tough. But there was one time in particular in the year 1984, which is how old were you back then?
Let's just make sure that 1984 won't be like 1984.
No, exactly. But you were young and back then. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
So my mother's father had lived in Fresno, California. And if any of you have been in Fresno, California in the summer months, you would know that it is not climate friendly.
Are you saying it's hot?
It'd be hot.
It's hot.
And so a widower, my mom's mom had passed away a couple of years beforehand, and he didn't have a whole lot of people looking after him. My mom and dad flew him up to where I grew up. That would be Sequim, Washington. Sequim if you're playing at home and don't know how to pronounce it. And invited my grandpa for Thanksgiving, and they made the appeal or the pitch or they sold him on, hey, Grandpa. I really didn't know his name that well back then when I was 10 or 11.
It's Grandpa.
Right.
Grandpa. That's his full name.
We can get you a little bit of a guest house here on our acre of land, and why don't you come and live in a much more pleasant climate? And obviously their sales pitch worked because he never went back home.
Oh, cool.
Lived with us for about a month and got a place built up, and that started in 1984, 85 zone, was what I had noticed that he always watched wrestling on Saturday afternoons. And that began
the whole WWF.
I don't acknowledge the E.
Okay.
It's always going to be the WWF. And I don't care about
you.
what animal group took their name. They're always going to be the World Wrestling Federation to me. That's right.
I got you.
But anyway, my memorable Thanksgiving was when I got a grandpa staying
cool.
on a more regular basis. So that was kind of cool.
Very cool, dude.
All right. So the day after Thanksgiving, we already talked about it in the show hook. We're not going to talk about it now. But if you got the day off, And, we, AJ and I, are of a collective consensus.
Yes.
A majority of two believe that you should not go to the retail sector on that day.
Yes, or have to go up online and shop for deals. Now, granted, like this year's an interesting year.
Geez. Yeah, every year is getting worse.
Well, it is, but because like you have pre-Black Friday sales, you've got...
You mentioned it!
Well, okay, I'm just saying.
I don't know, I'm caffeinated. I get excitable every now and then. Yes, pre-Black Friday sales.
Pre-Black Friday sales, post-Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday sale. You're going to see a lot of marketing. And this year's going to be exceptionally worse, and you probably heard it here first, folks, because the amount of shopping days between Thanksgiving to Christmas is like 20. It's less than last year. We only have like 24 days of shopping days or something like that.
Stay tuned for a breaking news alert about the decreased amount of shopping days until Christmas.
Right.
On your favorite news channel.
So, and that's why if you've noticed lately, a lot of campaigns have already spun up. The one campaign that I will point to, and they're fairly local, is REI, our local recreation equipment industry.
International. Thank you very much.
REI always does the most, I think, the most pointed to their mission, that is, as a business, of Black Friday sales. And that is, they don't have one. It's called hashtag opt outside.
Yeah.
They would rather you go out and experience the outdoors or do something with life, as opposed to have your life completely drained as well as your pocketbook.
Well, the pocketbook's going to be drained based on our mindset of Christmas holiday shopping.
Yeah.
And why should it all be contained just on that day? And all that? Anyway, we're diverging.
No, but I just want to point out, like, not all retail is evil. I mean,
sure.
REI is a gargantuan company.
Oh yeah.
But nevertheless, there are good things in the retail sphere. I'm just, giving the yin to your yang.
Thank you, yin. I'm going to yang for a while.
Go yang.
I want to be able to have a day where if I don't have to work, and I'm blessed to be in a job where I don't have to work, I want to try to do something that's a little bit more not looking at a screen.
Yes.
Granted, but also to do something new. And to enjoy working a little bit of hygge into my life.
Yeah, you're getting out.
Getting out. First place, I would say, we mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again because I'm the co-host of the show and I could do whatever the heck I want.
Absolutely. I second that.
I want to start the day going to Bellingham's tried and true House of Awesome, and that would be LaFeens Donuts.
Oh, I was going to say Hana Teriyaki, but okay.
1466 Electric Avenue if you are suddenly salivating and popping that into your map app to get there. 1466 Electric Avenue in Bellingham, because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, donut eaters of all ages, you deserve it.
Yes.
I think LaFeens would be a fine place to go get a morning breakfast.
They're a good donut place. I think they're probably the best donut place now in Bellingham.
Well, they are definitely Survivor Donut Bellingham.
They're Survivor Donut.
Yes. All right. And moving on, let's just say you go to lunch after having not as highly nutritious or filling a breakfast as you can. I submit to you, dear friends, that you should be going to Fairhaven, one of our favorite places in Bellingham that we talked about. And I would suggest you check out a new joint in town called Maikam, M-A-I-K-H-A-M. And if I mispronounced it, my apologies. Thai and Lao cuisine.
Interesting.
So it's in Fairhaven, and it's across the street from the filling station. So keep your E's and I's peeled.
Wow.
Peel the E off the I, you get an E.
Really?
No, I just screwed it up. So Maikam Thai and Lao cuisine, new place in town. Check it out. I think they got a pretty cool menu.
You been?
Not yet.
Okay.
Guess what I'm doing on Black Friday?
That's what I was wondering.
If it's open, you might see a familiar voice or might hear a familiar face, something like that.
You are quite gregarious.
I can be. So anyway, check out. We got a link in the show notes for the love of Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff.
Happy Thanksgiving drink.
All right. And then as you are enjoying perhaps a snowy, there is snow in the forecast.
Yeah, it's been cold in the morning.
Yeah, if you are able to navigate the roads and make your way around, they're cool. But we're going to a place that we normally don't go to, and here's where your podcast buddy Chris might be hypocriting himself. In the Meridian area, near some of the retail businesses,
outlets. Yes. Mm-hmm.
There is a joint called Hokkai Ramen and Sushi.
Hokkai.
That's correct. And they are near the AT&T building, I believe. There may be around that zone, kind of near Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
And they have, I actually had a bowl of ramen there, and it was quite enjoyable, if I do say so myself. Ramen and sushi and teriyaki and the whole business. We got a link to their website in the show notes. Eat.
Eat. Oh, well played.
In that case. But those are three places that I think if y'all were to go indulge in a little bit of food goodness, that would be three interesting places to check out. And
while you are looking at those interesting food places, you might listen to us in your vehicle on terrestrial radio, Bellingham's very own KMRE 102.3 FM.
And if you happen to have a streaming app on your phone, you can go to KMRE.org and listen to them through your Bluetooth speakers that way in your car. They're streaming our show Mondays at 6:30 p.m. and Thursdays, God help us, at 6 p.m. It's a wonderful thing. We appreciate it.
It's a wonderful life. Now, with that said... I'm going to throw in all of the references.
We're going there. All
right. So let's say you do want to partake in the consumerist festivities, and you are going to perhaps get some early goodies for perhaps Christmas or whatever holidays that you celebrate. What type of gifts have you been kind of scoping out? Like reasonable, like we're not talking like thousands of dollars, but like what are some good stocking stuffers that you've had across the year that you'd recommend?
I've actually done quite a bit of research on the Kardashians.com, and they have a great shop on. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, great.
Scratch that. There's a tech item that might be helpful. You plug in your phone to a wall adapter, say in a place of business or God forbid the SeaTac International Airport or some other things. You plug it into a wall. You don't know what's going on the other side. There is a product called Portapow. Love that name.
I will reserve my comments.
Yeah, no comment there. Portapow, it's a third generation USB data blocker. Hey, AJ, new term for 2020 coming up. Are you ready for juice jacking?
Oh, I've heard of the juice jacking.
We're keeping this clean, folks. That's the actual term.
Yes.
What happens is that when you go to charge your phone, there could be malware that is transmitted from the source of the power through your cable onto your device, phone, tablet, whatever, or it could be grabbing data from your device. So this little $7 goodie, which we have a link to in our show notes, will allow you to plug in your cable of choice and plug that into whatever adapter, and it's blocking any data transmission. It's only getting you the power to your device. $7, and it's black, naturally. Money well spent, in my opinion. Along those lines, could I make an appeal to my mobile phone friends out there? Hi, I'm Chris. I'm your friendly neighborhood tech friend. Those little white squarish plugins and those beat up cables that you have to charge your phone with, that you may have gotten for free or may have picked up in like a lost and found, or someone just had it lying around and you happen to be using that. If you go online to a particular website that we're well aware of, Anker, A-N-K-E-R, PowerPort adapters. There's a whole line to choose from. Click on the link that we got on your mobile phone, show notes, and your podcast app of choice, or online if you happen to be looking at this, or just type in Anker, A-N-K-E-R, PowerPorts, and then you get a whole list of ones. Find one, because what happens is this is getting you the amount of voltage and power transmitted to your device that you currently have. You're not undercharging, you're not overcharging, it's like the Goldilocks of adapters. Can you hear me knocking? I think you've been a good boy and girl this year, and I think you should get this for your special someone or for yourself. They're ranging from $20 to $25 on that site that we don't really need to talk about because everyone in the world is going to, and not Alibaba this time. This is the other one here in America. But consider upgrading your wall charger for your mobile device. I think, as we are in a new era, let's get the power right so that you can sustain that battery in your device. I'm off my rant.
Okay. Well, so you had the Portapow, you had the
Anker.
The Anker.
Why don't you talk for a little bit? What are some ideas that you would like to put under the stocking for those that have been good little kiddos this year?
So for me, I'm kind of on the other side. I'm going to kind of talk about a few things that I've gotten that I've been using for the last several months. The first thing I would recommend is so I got a new travel mug. Okay?
Yes.
So, and it's Chris Powell approved.
Yes.
It's none blacker.
I like it.
It's by Clean Canteen. Now, I mentioned several months ago that I had another Clean Canteen that was made in green, and I love the thing. This is their like third version, I think, of it. And so it's a vacuum sealed, comes in 12, 16, and 20 some odd ounce, travel tumblers. But what's cool about this is they have a new lid assembly, and it's their cafe lid. So it's a screw lid, and it keeps things hot and also keeps things from spilling around in your bag. But what's cool about this new version is on the lid, there's a metal handle. So you can clip it on a carabiner, you can clip it on a backpack or whatever. So if you don't have, say, a pouch on your satchel that you can put your mug in and you want to keep it on the outside, you can do that just by a simple, $5 carabiner that you pick up at REI, let's say.
There you go.
It's been super great. I took it on the road when I was traveling. It's honestly, I think it's probably their best version of it. I think the dual wall insulation is actually thicker. So I've noticed that my hot things stay a lot hotter than my previous gen. So I'd recommend taking a look at it. Like I said, by Clean Canteen, and it comes in a wide range of colors.
There is none other than black, in my opinion.
I have to agree with you on this one. I don't like their new colorways that they picked this
others
time.
might, and so we need to make them aware.
Yes, they're very bright and happy, but Sahale Black, I have to say, is my favorite in this.
Sahale Sagudi.
Sahale Sagudi.
Moving on.
So anyway, the other thing that I picked up recently is a new belt.
A new belt, really?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I have been trimming up.
Yes.
And instead of, I've ran out of notches on the belt. Okay. And
I choose not to have a punchline for that one. Continue.
Moving on.
Yes. Yeah.
So I got a new belt, and it's made by this company called Arcade. And what's interesting about this belt is it uses an elastic. And so basically it's a one-size-fits-all belt, but what's nice is it's stretchy.
I need the stretchy.
It makes your jeans feel like, you can wear this, and for one, you can get the belt buckle that is like polycarbonate or carbon fiber. You could literally walk through an airport with this without having to take it off.
Really?
Yeah. They do make they do also make ones with metal and stuff. But
# interested.
Yes. Uh-huh. So mine's the full polycarbonate version. I've got a wood inlay on the belt buckle, and it's got a mountain scene. Go figure.
Yes.
But
do they have a Punisher logo?
You could probably have it edged.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yes. Think about that for Christmas.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, but what's nice about it is, the belts are probably about $29-$30. Money well spent, if you ask me. They also have more of an adventure-y one where they actually have loops, kind of like a molly loop on the side, where you can use it for clipping on a carabiner and stuff. But just as a very comfortable belt, gentlemen or ladies, take a look at it. They even have a kids version, which is how I found it.
I'm thinking as I'm envisioning a stretchy belt or one with a little bit of give to it. It works for those who have a dad bod such as myself.
And
so I've been told.
Yes.
So even better idea, that is the TSA friendly belt. I know what that is like. So anyway.
Yeah, especially if you're traveling and you need a belt. If you can, pick it up now before you go to Thanksgiving, because I think it'll be easier for you to go through TSA.
You wouldn't have to undo your belt. It naturally stretches. That's perfect.
Exactly. So that's my other recommendation, and it's in none blacker.
Of course.
Rokin headphones. I mentioned this on a previous episode. I just want to throw them out. They've really been working out for me. And I know that at the time of this recording, AirPods 3 or whatever are out, whatever. But the thing about the Rokins that I kind of wanted to point out is, for me, the coolest thing that kind of happened when I started using these is because the left and the right are interchangeable. Like if, for instance, whenever I walk to work, I usually only have one headphone in. And so typically speaking, like I'll use that one headphone, and then when I'm done, I'll put it in and charge. But let's say, and this happened to me recently, I use that one to the point where it's completely exhausted. Well, and I usually keep it in the same ear. I can just take the left one, stick it in my right ear. I can use the right one, stick it in my right ear, because they're not like the Apple headphones where they have to be left and right.
You see, now that's appealing. So for those that may want to check this out online, is it Rokin or Rockin?
I think it's Rokin, Rowkin.
Rokin. Okay, as opposed to Rockin, because that would be an awesome name for Bluetooth earpieces.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to throw them out because as a follow-up, because I have been using them pretty much nonstop every day.
Very cool. I want to talk about something for our automobile as we may be heading into the winter season. Sometimes, if you're like me, you might see a maintenance required or a check engine light show up on your dashboard. That usually is a signal that the cold sweats are occurring, because now I'm having to schedule an appointment in my repair shop for them to be able to figure out what the heck that light means.
No, I'm having more of a palpitation because I'm like, how much is it going to cost me?
Exactly. So there are a fleet of devices out there, and so what I believe these authorized auto repair facilities do is they hook up a contraption, and that's a technological term for it, in which they have their diagnostic scan tools to be able to get the code that they can figure out what's going on with your vehicle.
Yeah.
On that big old website that we were referring to earlier, if you were to go to an OBD link, not to be confused with ODB, which is Wu-Tang approved, although I think this would be Wu approved here. There's a Bluetooth scanner, OBD link, one bad device. How about that?
Well, OBD is the port that's in your car. That's what you're connecting to.
I like mine better. My description better.
Valid. Valid.
But what happens is you can download an app on your iPhone or Android phone, plug this contraption into your vehicle, and now you can see what's going on internally. This is a professional-grade diagnostic scan tool, trip computer, and real-time performance monitor. Here I am reading the notes that I have in front of me, capable of accessing manufacturer-specific vehicle data.
Huh.
You've been a good young'un this year, AJ.
Yeah, I have.
This is only about $80. Now, when you consider, this is a little pricey per what we would normally recommend.
Sure.
A plug-in charger's $20, a data blocker's $7, a clean canteen is about what?
$30.
You're right. This one's a little pricey.
But
if you take a look at how much an hour is of
shop time,
authorized auto repair facility would charge for this, if you can get that information for yourself now, wouldn't that be a wonderful investment of money? By the way, the views expressed in the items recommended they're just ours. You know what I'm talking about with the disclaimer, folks, right? We are not professional auto repair folks, and it may not work on every vehicle,
right?
But it sure works on a lot of them.
Well, gee, Chris, you sound like you're well experienced.
Yeah,
I believe you've been working on some vehicles lately.
Yeah, no, I've learned a little bit from a device like this, and so to be able to pop that in and go, oh, that can be helpful in the future versus scheduling time. You can do this in the convenience of your own garage.
No, that's cool.
All right.
So the last one that I've got is watch related. And that is, one's a shout out and one is kind of a little bit of a plug for something that I worked on a little bit ago. Let's say you have somebody in your life that has a bespoke watch, or they're getting into watches, because I've noticed that watches have kind of slowly become back into the pop culture zeitgeist, which is kind of cool. If you look on my website, there was a post that I wrote a couple weeks back on basically the watch straps that I would recommend that you can wear from the office to the trail, which it was very Pacific Northwest centered, hit on 4 brands of watch straps. Zulu Alpha, which is based out of England. You've got Toxic NATO's, Sup Terry.
Hey, Terry.
A tried and true NATO company. You've got, and also veteran owned. You had this other company called Crown and Buckle, which makes this great strap called Chevron. And then there was Erica's Originals, which is based out of, I think she's out of Spain, if I recall, which is the one of the most comfortable straps I've ever worn in my life. The one I want to give a shout out to is not on that list, only because it doesn't fit the context of what I was writing about, which is from the office to the trail. In the office, there is hands down the best looking and best comfortable and most bespoke leather strap that you could ever ask for. And that is by Eric of EA8. If you go back to the Analog Explorer editions of the podcast, I had him up on the show. We did an interview of him. But if you wanted to have a strap made for that someone who has that watch, or maybe you have like you're talking about the story of your grandfather, maybe that grandfather or grandmother in your life that has a watch for umpty boodle years that they never take off, and you wish that you could help them dress it up a little bit.
Breathe new life into a 20th century watch, bring it into the 21st century.
Exactly. Yep. Take a look at EA8. You can find them up on Instagram at EA8 or EA8 Leather Goods. And what's great about them, like I mentioned before, and I won't go in ad nauseum about them, but what's cool is that you're working with a craftsman. And if you want a specific kind of leather or stitching and stuff, he really wants to make the best strap for the piece. He kind of sees it as like an artwork.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to give him a shout out because he kind of falls in the vein for what we kind of do promote. Out of all of these other things that are very, consumer centric, this one is more of an artistic piece. And I just wanted to throw him in there. But so if you, on the other side of it, if you want something that is, I'll say, I mean, they're a bigger brand, but I would say that they're still small scale, is Crown and Buckle. Take a look at the chevron if you want something that is nylon. And I'm thinking of those that are just against having leather, whatever your reason
whatever
may
your
be.
situation might be.
Yeah. So that's my two recommendations there.
That article that you mentioned earlier, what was that website that you, what is your website again, AJ?
ajbarce.com.
Oh, well, that's right. I almost forgot. Very good. So that concludes our little gift guide for the PNW Among Us for pragmatic gifts that you might be able to get outside of a particular
big box
yes.
store or big box store online, even though a lot of those you can find up on that store. So, Chris, we still have time on the mic. So, do you have a cultural recommendation? Yeah. You're the one that started it, okay?
Yes, and you took it to another level. I do have a little bit of a suggestion you might want to consider. If you are interested in technology like myself, and perhaps AJ too, there is a magazine very similar to what I talked about in a previous episode, 0.4, but this one is more technology-faced. This is called the Techno Skeptic. My, how we have such differing views about everything under the sun nowadays. But the Techno Skeptic caught my eye as I was in that wonderful bookstore that we have here in Bellingham, Village Books. I see techno. I kind of like techno music, but it was about technology as opposed to music. Yes, that too. So basically, they're on issue 4 right now, and they happen to have a podcast as well. If you want to check them out as well, it's a well done discussion about the integration of technology and its impact on society and the environment. Well written articles, and definitely pause for thought that isn't talking about, oh my gosh, look what just came out.
Right.
Windows that break. Yeah, they actually talk about stuff that matters.
Yeah.
So anyway, check out the Techno Skeptic if you get a chance. AJ.
So for me, it's going to be watch related on this regard, just because I like what this enterprise has done, bringing a more analog approach to their content, and that's Hodinkee.
Ah, yes.
At the time of this recording, Hodinkee Volume 5, the magazine, has just dropped. And if you, and again, like I don't really have to go a lot into Hodinkee, but basically they're a news outlet that is horologically centric. It talks about watches and stuff. They also have a podcast, Hodinkee Radio. What's interesting about it, and the reason why I bring it up here is, if you're a watch fan, of course, it's kind of a main staple, but if you like listening to me and Chris, it's when you read the Hodinkee magazine, to which I believe you have the first 4 volumes.
I've got a couple of the early editions.
Yes.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, you went through it. It's not just watch centric. It's more story and human centric and watch adjacent.
When people say, let's do shots, dude, and you consume something, that would be the typical periodical you might be seeing. When you talk about a Hodinkee magazine, this is that 100-year-old barrel-aged drank that you do not shotgun. You sip this slowly. You turn the page oh so carefully and enjoy the well-written articles and the layout and the design and the beautiful photography.
Yeah, no, they're the photographers that they have are completely skookum. But it's also, this is a burly magazine. I think it's like 100 and, I should know this off the top of my head, like 180-page magazine.
It's definitely sipping.
It's a book.
Yeah, it's a bookazine.
Yeah, I think they come in at like, I think $30 a volume.
It's worth the price.
Yeah, but I mean, they cover things like adventure, they cover things like lifestyle, They have cars are usually in there. I think this one, James Stacy, I think had a spread in there for the McLaren F1. I think I haven't gotten the volume, so I don't know all the pieces yet.
He copied that McLaren F1 thing from me. I had that up on my website before.
Did you? Okay, cool.
No, he copied me on that.
But anyway, I've seen the first 4 volumes and read through them. This one I imagine is probably going to be equally as Skookum. So that's my recommendation.
All right. I see that Mickey's hands on the 6. It's time to stick a fork in this show.
Oh, that wraps it up for this edition of the Bellingham Podcast.
Well played. Points for AJ in creativity.
Thank you again so much for listening to us, rating and reviewing us wherever you get your podcast. Remember, if you're in the Bellingham area, you might be listening to us on KMRE 102.3 FM.
They're community powered and streaming worldwide at KMRE.org.
MOUSE. I'm AJ Barset.
And thanks once again for listening to us on the Bellingham Podcast. I'm Chris Powell. We'll see you next time with another show. That was clever. Chock full o' clever.
Gorge.
Yes.